How you like that? You gon' like that? Da 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 da. You like that? Bada bing, bada boom, boom, boom. How you like that? Da 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 da. Now, look at you, now look at me. Look at you, now look at me. Look at you, now look at me. How you like that? Now, look at you, now look at me. Look at you, now look at me. Look at you, now look at me. How you like that?
Hey y'all, it's Sherry G. Welcome back to the channel. So look, there's a lot going on with Martell Holt. There's two recent articles out about him. One was in the Yahoo News, and I was just reading that and thinking about doing commentary around that, just giving my thoughts on that article. And then the U.S. Sun actually put out an article regarding Martell and the court case and just a whole bunch of stuff. So anyway, I read it last night. I read it a couple of times. There's several people who actually sent me the article. And, some of us were just sharing privately our views and opinions, And I just have to say that overall, like when I saw some of the things in that article, I was surprised, but then again, not surprised. And I say that because of just who Martell has been showing himself up to be lately. People are saying that he's beginning to unravel. I actually think he's already unhinged. And he's just showing it more and more. Like he's just getting more bold and more brazen. He wants to control his world, and anything that gets in the way, he just ignores it, sort of. But anyway, I am going to give my views and opinions on that article that the U.S. Sun put out. So keep in mind that all of the commentary in this video is just opinion. Everything is alleged and all of that. So anyway, y'all, it's according to this article, Martell is ordered to undergo an intense psych eval. And that actually was ordered in December. And some of the things they cited in that article was because Melody was really concerned, or is really concerned, just like the rest of us, about where he is mentally. There were things that were cited, like corporal punishment. And when I think about the things that were stated in this particular, article, like, the choking, etc. And all of this is in the article, y'all. So I'm just talking about what was actually in the article. This isn't hearsay or anything that, we just pulled up out of the sky. It was actually in the article. And this, the Sun is alleging that these are court obtained documents that they were getting this information from. So anyway, I feel that any mother whose children come to her citing any of those things, citing that they've been getting beat by their father, and, that he's choking them, he's twisting them, all of these things, I think any mother would go to the court and report it. Because I know that there are going to be people that drag Melody for that, but come on, y'all. It doesn't matter if you like a person or if you dislike a person. Taking your personal feelings out of it, if it were you and it was your children and your child came to you, I would hope that you would be the type of mother, or father for that matter, that would take matters into your own hands and do what you can to protect your children. And by that, I mean going the legal route and going and, reporting this information, just as she did when her son first initially came to her saying that, he was beat and that he got hit in the head with belt buckle. And of course, Martell tried to turn that around and make Melody seem like the bad guy in that situation. So going back to that, for their first initial, child custody case, Martell was ordered to go to therapy, he and his son. He was also ordered to no longer, I believe they said that he could no longer spank the children. And I also believe there was something about putting liquid into their mouth as a form of punishment, something like hot sauce or something like that. Y'all, please get down in the comments section and correct me if I'm wrong about all of that. But it was something to that effect, right? So according to the article by the U.S. Sun, Martell is no longer attending those therapy sessions with his son, and not because he was told not to, just because he decided not to. Like I said, Martell likes to control the narrative, every narrative in his life. And so in my opinion, he's just bold. He's bold and he's brazen. So he's no longer doing that like he was ordered to do. So in my opinion, he's in violation of the court order by discontinuing that therapy with his son. And also he's in violation of the court order, in my opinion, by continuing with this type of corporal punishment that he's using to discipline the children. And I remember when he had that interview with Tasha K, and he was saying that Melody was more of the laid back type of disciplinary, where he was more of the militant type. And he actually said that his form of punishment was more military style. And so I'm thinking, okay, then that means you're just harsh, right? You're harsh. These children are not in the military. They're not soldiers. They're not airmen. They're not in the Navy. I mean, they don't serve. So they're not in a military school or any type of situation like that. So I just seen that as harsh. So when he said that in that interview, that was kind of like a red flag to me. And so again, like I said, when I saw this article written by the U.S. Sun and all of the allegations in there concerning him using corporal punishment, I was saddened, actually, but I wasn't surprised, because I personally, and this is my opinion, don't put that past Martell. So in my opinion, it's like a double jeopardy, right? Because he, like I said, he hasn't obeyed what the court has told him to do. And now if the court believed that these recent allegations, if they believe them enough to order this evaluation, then I question, how is he still allowed to have his weekly visits with them? And I assume he still is, only because there wasn't anything mentioned in the article about any change to the arrangement. So if it is true that he's still allowed to have his 7 days on, 7 days off situation, and it's unsupervised, I question the courts. Like, how can you see these allegations and believe enough to actually insist that he take a psych exam, and you already know that he's in violation of a prior court order? Why isn't that enough for you to make adjustments, temporary adjustments, until after this evaluation is done and the findings are, after the whole thing is done and we find out what we find out, or the court finds out what they find out as far as what his mental state is? I would think that would be the situation. But again, I'm only assuming that it's not, because the Sun did not mention anything as far as a change to the custody arrangement. Now, we know that when they went to court and he was found guilty, again, I'm going to say that, of spanking his son, that he was withheld from visitation for 56 days. And he was ordered then to, attend the therapy and everything, which I gather he started because then he was allowed to go into the 7-day on, 7-day off situation. So anyway, I question that. I really don't know who's in charge of this whole situation as far as the court, but you guys, y'all from Huntsville, y'all who know about, the court system down there, y'all saying that this particular judge who handled their situation initially is just something else. And I don't know, y'all, but it just doesn't seem right to me. So that was one of the questions that I had. I feel like there was enough evidence to show just how low down, dirty, and evil Martell really is, where they would do their best to protect the children and keep them protected until after this evaluation. But in this article, it states that he tried to actually proposition Melody. So he told Melody, if you allow me to use corporal punishment on the children, then I'll allow you to film the children. And I'm thinking, oh my God, how low down and dirty. Now that's an allegation, but it's in the article. And according to them, this is all public record. So I'm thinking, man, is he crazy? That's low down and dirty. And he should know that Melody would not go for that. Because let's just say she did. Let's just say she did go for that, y'all. And she said, okay, I'm going to go ahead and do this because she wants to film the children. You can just believe that if that happened and Martell spanked the children, he would then turn it around and make it like it was Melody's fault because she gave him permission to do it. You could believe that he would throw her under the bus. And Melody's not dumb, y'all. So we know she wouldn't fall for anything like that. But that to me just points to how demented he is. Like it just points to how low he would stoop to have his way in this situation, to have his way in his life, and how he has zero cares about anybody else but himself. It's all about him. Because who in their right mind or half of right mind would fall for that type of tomfoolery? Who? So let me just read a couple of things from this article, y'all, because I know some of you probably already read it. It's all over everywhere. But I just want to read a couple of things from there and just give my thoughts, views, and opinions on those things. Hang tight. Okay, y'all, before I point out some of the bullet points in this article, y'all remember me saying that he's bold and brazen because this all took place in December, right? This court action. It took place in December. But y'all, he turned around the following month and had that interview with Tasha K, trying to discredit Melody and show her as erratic and crazy. And it backfired on him. So that's just even more proof of where his mindset is. So y'all, this man, his back is against the wall. And in my opinion, he's reached the lowest of the low. And when I think back to when we were first introduced to this couple, man, it's such a disappointment because I was hopeful for them, first of all, as a couple, and wanted to see them work things out. But now we see just what Melody's been dealing with and what is going on now, what she's dealing with now is a whole lot worse. It's a whole lot worse, y'all. So anyway, reading from The Sun, it says that in that filing, it stated that based on the father's recent erratic behavior at the minor children's school, practice, and other public places, as well as his inappropriate, unhinged, and erratic behavior toward the mother and the minor children, a thorough and complete mental examination and evaluation of the father is essential to the court's decision regarding important issues in this case regarding the child custody and visitation. Again, where is the court? Because this is the wording in this particular paragraph, to me, is very strong. And yet, if the children are still allowed to visit the father between now and the time that this evaluation is done, that to me is a travesty. Because you're questioning his mental state. You're saying that his mental state is erratic. And not only is it because of the corporal punishment, but it's because of how he's been showing out in public places, which include the school, which include the children's practice, and other public places, in addition to the way he treats Melody, which is unacceptable. I don't understand where the court is, y'all. It is my hope that Melody actually has full and complete custody of the children during this time. Again, it hasn't been stated in this article, so I don't know. But that is my hope. They didn't mention a change here, and we haven't heard anything other than that, But Melody really wants this psychic eval because she is saying in this article that is detrimental to the physical, emotional, and mental well-being of the children, and fears that the children have already suffered emotional damage as a result of Martell's irate and erratic behavior. And I agree with her. Y'all. I'm sorry. I've always wondered what was going on behind the walls, because we see how Martell acts out. We've seen it on television. We've seen it on social media. And so I always wondered how he really was with those children, when he was alone with those children especially. But we see here now that it's not just when he's alone with the children. He's actually acted out at the school. So you know that there's evidence of that, right? There are witnesses, most likely, because you wouldn't make an accusation like this unless you had receipts. And also, at their practice. So there are witnesses to that. There are receipts for that. Again, you wouldn't make accusations like this unless you have receipts. So anyway, y'all. So y'all, in another part of this article, it goes on to say, and this is citing Melody's concerns, that apart from being concerned about the children's mental well-being, she said that she's concerned about Martell's mental stability since he continues to relocate, has violated previous court orders, and has been threatened to distribute a sex tape that the parties created during their marriage. Now, as far as him relocating, we know that's true. That's even been played out on television, right? When he refused to move out of the last house that he was in before this house. So it seems like Martell has no stable home for the children, and that is a concern. And then also, for me, it's the fact that not just his mental stability, but his economic stability. Because if she's paying to get lights turned on, if she's paying so that they can have food at the house, that's concerning. Okay. It's like he knows that the children are going to stay with him. He should be prepared to have those lights on. He should be prepared to have food at the home. Otherwise, why let them stay? Just let them stay with their mother. So, I'm sure she has receipts for those things too, regarding her paying the light bill and supplying food for them when he couldn't do that. But, all in all, just looking at this whole thing, like I said, I was sad. Like, I was sad for the children because for any child to have to go through this with a parent, whether it be a mother or whether it be a father, and sometimes both parents or both caregivers, it's very disheartening because no child deserves to be treated this way. And it was always a concern for a whole lot of us because we've seen how erratic Martell can be. It's been shown on TV and just the things that he does in these social media streets to try to bring Melody down. And lately, and that seems to be his plight, like bringing Melody down. And so I wonder, like, what's going on with Knox? You know, is he getting some of this backlash too? I can almost guarantee, and again, this is my strong opinion, that Ariana is. It's just a really bad situation. So I don't know, y'all. That's all I have for this video. I just, you know, it's kind of in my thoughts about this whole thing. I'm praying for the best for the children. I would pray for the best for Martell. But at this point, I feel like you can pray for a person and pray for a person. But if they don't want better, if they don't decide that, hey, it's time for me to do the right thing, let me turn a new leaf here. Let me get myself together. If they don't want that, then it doesn't matter that we all stand in agreement. If that person's will is not to do a certain thing or to continue doing certain things, then that's what's going to happen, because their will supersedes our desires. Their will supersedes our petitions and our prayers. If they're not willing to do the work, so I'm praying that the best thing happens for the sake of the children, that they will be safe, that they will be protected, that they will be with their mom. The same thing with Melody. I hope that all of the things that she's going through turns out for her good, as it always has in the past. But it's just time for all of the trauma, all of the continued trauma, all of the continued abuse, all of the continued back and forth, right? Him trying to throw her under the bus. Him, like even in this article, when he was asked, you know, about certain things pertaining to the corporal punishment, instead of defending himself by saying, well, I did this, but I didn't do this, he was trying to bash Melody again. If you guys can go ahead and pull up the U.S. Sun and read it, you'll see that he takes no ownership. And they even say that in the article. He takes no ownership. And we've seen that time and time again. Takes no ownership for anything that he does. It's either Melody did this or Melody did this too. It's just, he just never takes the onus for what he has done. So anyway, y'all, let's keep the M&M kids in our prayers. I'm praying for Knox as well. And when it comes to Ariana, again, she's a grown woman. She already knows what she's dealing with as far as Martell is concerned. She already knows that he's manipulative. She already knows that he's controlling, because she's actually said that. She said it on, you know, one of those recordings with Nay on the original Straight No Chaser. She actually said it herself, but yet she chooses to stay. She chooses him each and every single time. So I feel about her the same way I feel about Martell. You know, we can pray for them all that we want, but then it comes a time where you have to sit back and say, hey, are my prayers in vain? Because they don't want to change. Because this is their life. This is who they are. And when you're dealing with a person where we think Martell is mentally anyway, the allegations that we're making based on what we're seeing, well, it's like a reprobate mind, right? He's operating as if a person, he's operating as though he is operating out of a reprobate mind. Y'all get what I'm trying to say. But anyway, and when the mind is like that, I don't know that there's much else we could do, right? he needs help. A lot of help. Intense help. And I pray that that happens for his sake and the children's sake. But I just don't see us praying for him to just turn around on his own. It's not going to happen. He's bold. He's brazen. He doesn't think there's anything wrong with him. He doesn't think he has to abide by the rules. He's already violated the court mandated orders, right? So anyway, y'all, that's all I have for you today in this video. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. I'll be back. Until then, ciao.